Welcome to the Authentic Action Podcast, brought to you by Gal Media, Fun Fast Productions, and the Authentic Action School Online. I'm your host, Angel, and my intention with the Authentic Action Podcast is to explore diverse perspectives on what it means to live a good life, and to inspire, educate, and motivate you to design and live a life that you love. I will be interviewing and conversing with outstanding creators, activists, artists, actors, teachers, seekers, and speakers who are deliberately designing and living lives they love. We're going to dive deeper into what is holding people back from achieving the lives of their dreams to their very fullest, and what their greatest dreams for the future are. I hope this show will inspire you to consider your own mission and dreams, help you find and voice your own beliefs and boundaries, and perhaps take at least one small step toward realizing your own dreams for our best future today. Let's grab our favorite beverages, get comfy, and dive right into it. My guest on today's episode of the Authentic Action Podcast is a fellow idealist and musician, a dedicated father and husband, and a good friend. He plays several instruments and sings with several different groups in the Albuquerque area, where he also works as an assistant real estate broker. He also travels frequently to the East Coast and to Haiti to assist various friends and family in whatever ways he can. I have had the pleasure of performing a number of songs with him, and I am pleased to introduce the debonair and generous Mr. Ducarmel G. Germain, also known as Duke.
Welcome, Ducarmel, and thank you for joining me on the Authentic Action Podcast. I will be editing in an intro and outro, just so you know, and we can edit out any parts, so you don't have to feel uncomfortable about being yourself. I watch you clam up as soon as I hit the record button.
I'm good.
That was cute. We were having a great conversation about a conversation I've had a lot lately, which in its various forms, which is essentially about the tension between feeling like we can be our worthiness as just individuals for our own sake, not having to meet any standard or bar of society or our parents or even our own sense of identity in order to deserve to be alive and deserve to, have a right to live our lives the way we decide we want to live our lives, basically, right?
Well, thank you, Angel, for inviting me to the podcast. I hope I do it justice. No, it's the idea of coexist or co-create, if you will, on a mystical, mythical point of view. In relation to God as the creator, God create what's in it, including us, but we coexist who we become or who we are being. So we can be whoever we want to be. But some of us don't know that. We just go on, just like our other brothers and sisters in the animal kingdom. We go on instinct. We do the donuts. I gotta do the donuts. We do the routines. Mm-hmm. But some of us escape that. Say, that's kind of redundant. Let me see what I can do today. Let me go and climb a rock and see. And it goes on. Let me fly a plane, but I have to build a plane. How do I build a plane? So we can co-create just like God created us. And so I think that's the right every single person or thing has, just like a bird does to make a nest. A snake does under the rock to drop their eggs, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's about that free will more than worthiness necessarily, or is it about, like, I'm thinking of the phrase, I am enough or you are enough, which is popular these days in meditation or it seems to be a sense that people are missing, that they're enough in and of themselves without meeting some other standard.
Speaking of meaning, though, on that phrase, you are enough or this is enough. Enough is because it's not enough. That's when you say it's enough. Because there was an urgency of keep doing it. I gotta stop. This is enough. So it's because it wasn't enough until you said that. again, we co-control who we are being at that time,
Mm-hmm.
good or bad. That's one of the things maybe of the subject, just to give you an idea. I don't like when somebody said, well, man, I'm sorry about last night, man. I had a few drinks. To me, I smell bullshit, because drinking shouldn't be, drinking just allow you to do what you really feel.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the drinking. You are an asshole. Drinking will allow you to make it happen
Right.
without it under prohibition or something like that.
Yeah. Not an excuse for
It's
your
not
bad behavior.
It's a bad behavior.
Yeah, I've said that about numerous things. I mean, we all have numerous excuses, and sometimes they might be, I think the hardest ones to get past are the real ones. Like maybe you have a drinking problem and you were really drunk, but it doesn't mean the bad behavior didn't happen. And so, it's an interesting two sides of an interesting coin. That freedom of choice.
There's always a gray area, depending on the case, depending if the person is being authentic in his or her behavior. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, but I just think it's a bad excuse to say I was drunk. That's my point. Say I was an ass night. That's my point. Just say I was an ass. Don't put it on the alcohol. It's not the alcohol. Wasn't there a rap song, R&B song that says that? No, blame it on the alcohol.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, I've been studying some NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and really the foundation of that whole therapeutic school is about taking personal responsibility for our actions, whether we were drinking or whether we were if you can't control yourself, that's on you basically, and you should probably.
I have a better analogy. If you do not take control of yourself, something or someone else will. Mm-hmm. All the time, not sometime, all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I like to say, "Who's driving?" You're driving right is a favorite phrase of mine, but it's a lot of people use the ship analogy, or somebody's captain of your ship. Yeah. And if you aren't, then who is?
Yeah, who is? Yeah. Well, the wind. I just put the valve.
Yeah. So that's a good segue to ask you. Who's captain of your ship, Duke?
Duque de Albuquerque.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah. So tell me a little about you. I can. Yeah, it's good to see you. I've mentioned, but I hadn't seen you for a while.
Well, 2018 and 2019 was kind of tough. I was spread very thin. My father's illness got worse, and it was a lot on my older sister in New York who's taking care of my father. And I go twice a year. And I go to Haiti, take care of a couple of matters for him. And I'm a realtor, so I'm not 9 to 5. So if I'm not working, I'm not making money. There's some financial restraint, and I have to come back around. And 2019 was all come back. Right now, I'm like, whew. Now I rolled up my sleeve again and start fighting again. But I feel strong. I feel like resolved, more resolved. Face the world like a bull, if you will.
Right. Good.
Yeah. Head first.
Yeah. Right, with your horns on and all. I just imagine that. I'm like, I don't know if that's a great plan, but I mean, if it works for you. Well, I see the analogy though.
It's just going to be more focused, more no victim. Mm-hmm. There's no victimization of self or others, if you will.
Mm-hmm. That taking personal responsibility
exactly.
for yourself.
And be present, as you mentioned in the earlier conversation before this. Being present is important all the time. That's why they call it presence. Mm-hmm. So I'm more focused. So should I reverse the question, or is it allowed in the? No.
Nah, that's not really allowed.
How are we doing nowadays?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we here?
We are. Okay. No, as you know, I love expressing my ideas to you, but I do want to use this opportunity to try to pick your brain a little bit about your visions for the future.
Oh, it won't take long.
Especially if people keep picking it, huh?
Yeah. No.
No, I'm interested partly because you're a realtor and you travel some, and then partly because we've sang together and
Yeah.
played some music together, and I know a little of your love for that artistic force, which I'm always trying to kind of get closer to, I guess, in a way. I'm interested how, how you see your ideal future playing out. I don't want to take you out of being present, and looking too far into the unknown, but just in an idealized kind of way.
Well, now I'm gonna make a shift to culture, because my musical interlude is mostly culture, not necessarily my own local culture, the jazz culture, the blues culture, and everything. In Haiti, you don't talk about your future because it goes to thin air and just disappear.
Okay.
However, I can tell you, like I said earlier, I'm more focused. Last year, I didn't do a lot of playing, and I miss it so. This year, I want to play a little more. Even if I play the same song every day for 365 days, it wouldn't hurt me, instead of not playing at all. So, and I would love to sing with you again. If I think the more we play, the better the spirit of the music. Albuquerque has a void, and it's easy to be part of what filled it in, but it's always going to feel that it's not enough. But you have to make it enough. So the challenge is on you and I, just the two of us, not
Right. That weight.
No, it's just that it's how do you contribute? It's about contribution. How do you contribute to the movement? And I think I've been here since 1990, August of 1990. And when I came here, Albuquerque was a little more hip. And it was hipper 10 years before that. So it seems like we've been getting worse and worse in art. There's a little handful of institutions that have the financial ability to do it. But as a populace in this community, we miss a lot of places we can hear music. When I go to Haiti, what I like most is I don't go up to clubs and hang out. That's just hearing the people. There's music all around. There's the drum. You can hear the drum in the mountain. You can hear the song, whether it's a church song. There's rhythm. There's life. So I miss that. Like people here love quietness. Me, I like the noise as long as it makes me feel alive. Kind of thing. So that's why when I come in the place, the party is on. If it wasn't on, I'll make sure it's on.
Right.
Even if I have to take a fork and a bottle and start knocking on it and create and before you know it, the whole place is dancing.
Yeah. I'm struck lately how we're missing rhythm, I think, and I think it is important for humans to...
Well, it's vibrations. It's waves, it's vibrations. So we are motivated by vibrations, just like the birds, and things like that. The dogs are very acute, and they're very aware, very conscious, very present. Dogs. So the dogs are my hero.
I hadn't thought of them as rhythmic, but I guess they are present for sure.
Oh, dogs are badass, man. I always see myself in my latter days, the romantic shotgun on the wall, one room with a dog in my pipe, some Captain Black, somewhere in the mountain.
Yeah,
toughing
in your man cave, huh?
Toughing it out, yeah. People might find it lonely. To me, I'd call it liberty. But my latter days, I'm still a long way from that. But I have a lot of friends, a couple of bear friends. Tweety birds come every morning to say good morning. I have plenty of friends. Yeah. And the river might be a good friend too. Good morning, Mr. River.
Right.
Or ma'am.
So that makes me want to ask about, you mentioned the joy of even playing the same song every day, and that had me thinking about the difference between skill, the skill of that one would get from playing the same song, and then there's the magic or the essence that comes now and then through that feeling that you get through practicing that skill and that, those Olay moments where that skill comes together with your own artistic expression and it's a beautiful note sang in your voice or whatever it is. And I wonder, when you mention in your old age, being by the stream with your pipe, if it just kind of makes me wonder about, do you think that those moments of self-expression need a human or maybe even a dog witness, or are they complete in and of themselves, just you and yourself?
No, not really, because naturally in my nature, I never do absolute anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the vision I have. That doesn't mean I might have a neighbor next door. I might have somebody who hiked my route.
Probably
my
on
house
Friday night, might
good
go
morning,
out and
Mr.
say,
So-and-so. After a year, we're best buddies. But the idea of, I think it's getting away in the metropolitan setting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm really a mountaineer. I'm not a city slicker. I might dress like one, but I'm not a city slicker, So I miss nature primarily. That's my motivation, to be honest with you.
It's about the birds and
it's about the birds, the river, the dreams, streams, hot tubs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not hot tubs, hot springs.
Yeah.
Actually, I need to go to Vegas.
I'll take the hot tubs.
Not the springs.
Springs are nice too, but
not the mineral water.
Tubs and a pool boy for me.
To each his own, right? Yeah. Okay. No,
I like springs too. I think you're right. Nature is kind of along with rhythm. Nature is something
it has its own rhythm.
Missing from our lives. Largely.
As a matter of fact, speaking of rhythm, I used to think when I was a kid, like between 5 and all the way to 10, maybe, I always thought the wind speaks to you. Each wind has its own message.
Mm-hmm.
If it's solid, I always try to pay attention to what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
That's how far back my curiosity has come.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always present to things, And then my interests are different than my peers. And because of that, when I was growing up, I had a lot of older friends that I spent a lot of time with, where I listened more than I'm a blabbermouth now, but back then I just listened, and absorb like a sponge. I miss my old friends because being old sucks.
That's what they keep saying.
There was an older person that was the father of my best friend at that time in high school, my latter years, and early college. And we used to play cards, a French card named Béziques. You use 52 cards. It's a long game, could be all day. And so after school, just goes up there, he drink coffee, have some coffee, we talk. So that's the kind of friends I used to have about everything, And one time he hurt my feeling, and something he said out of nothing, he said, and then I took it to heart, and I was hurt, but I never discussed it. And then he said, "Hey," told my friend, said, "Hey, D, what's up?" I said, Dad was saying, "You haven't seen me, what's up?" I said, "Yeah, he said this, he said that, he hurts my feeling." And he said, "Tell us, bring his buddy here." I said, "Man, I'm just joking with you." So at that point, it shows me the difference between somebody who's trying to talk you down or is trying to build you up. Mm-hmm. So I always have people who always try to build me up in my life. So I always polarize those people by nature again. It just happens that way. And it could be on campus. Could be the guy who is a street person. I sit down on the curb and talk to him for hours and learn a lot about life. But most people wouldn't do that because they have this, I call it censorship of expressing self and human relations, There's a predetermined code of conduct that I always rebel with since I was a kid.
Right.
Even things that's done, like if I know a neighbor doesn't talk to my parents, unless they're criminal and evil, I'll go and say, "Hi, good morning, Mrs. So-and-so." I won't go and hang on your house because I know it would be too disrespectful to my parents. But I'm not gonna act like I don't see you, I don't talk to you, because life's too short. Because that might be that person that saved you.
Yeah.
On a crossroad, wherever it is, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I try to be more receptive to what's so. I don't let my mind go too crazy on myself. I don't judge others too crazily. I might question,
Mm-hmm.
might wonder, and even have a debate with some confidant, but I would not judge.
Mm-hmm.
Even when those judge me, and others judge me.
Yeah, talking about presence and our free will to choose. I think it just feels better in the moment not to judge somebody, or to, like you use the example of turning and not acknowledging somebody versus being civil, and polite at least to somebody, and not predetermining that your interaction is going to be negative because of somebody else's interaction. And I think that just feels better. When I just think about those like two scenarios, seeing somebody and going like, oh, I don't want to talk to you because I'm not even sure why, but I was, because of something I've adopted, some story I've adopted. Or to think, hi, neighbor, and that's it. Like that's all that needs,
It's a good day.
It just feels better.
Acknowledge you're here, I'm there.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it just feels better. It's an easier way to go through. It's just so much less weight, much less heavy. Yeah.
So that's the relativity. It's what you see, like you said earlier, again in earlier conversation. You give yourself those expectations, and then they happen because in the word you say, the way you think.
Yeah. So we were talking a little earlier about education, and we've talked about the power of music in our own lives, and then potentially in the society, in the lives of society. I'm just kind of wanting to brainstorm with you about like how can we have a great time doing what we want to do, which is sometimes playing music, and then also feel like we're helping to promote, helping to choose that lighter future, that better future.
Well, like I said, we co-create. So we can create that future, even if it's our future, not everybody else's future, within that realm of new creation. And the what and how it is not important right now until you start doing it, because sometimes things transform from one thing to another and blow your expectation beyond, So the short answer is like you have to, like I said earlier, you have to be able to be receptive to what's to come, even if you know what it is, as long as you take an active part in what it is, because that's what's going to make it relating to you.
Yeah.
So you have to take an active part. For example, people who bitch about, not to turn it to politics, about the turnout of the vote. Did you vote? No. So shut the fuck up. You're not partaking, but you want to, so you have to partake. It's all right.
Right.
So, but I understand if somebody don't want to vote, because if at least twice in general election I didn't vote.
Yeah.
At least twice.
I've gone without voting. I understand that. Again, it's a free
to
choose.
It's because at that time I didn't feel, I know what's going to happen. Okay. But nowadays I don't do that. I have a different attitude. I do my civil duties.
Right.
For the same fact, I don't want to be a hypocrite. Do as I say and as I do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that happened on a different level. That happened at the job place. That happens in households. Organizations, board members. It's a human experience because there are so many aspects of events that happens in our life individually that can impact who you are being in the next meeting with your friend, in the next dinner with your wife. You're not present because something, and she thinks you're being rude, and you have another woman because. So what I'm saying, so many other things can happen. 90% of the kids that are considered, that's why I don't give titles, like you said, juvenile delinquent, they're directly related with the household they live. It's things they experience, whether they didn't do a physical experience, they might have just witnessed things that blow their mind, and they get stuck. And they don't know that to get unstuck because they don't share it to people. They're afraid. They don't know whatever the circumstances are. So that's why in education, what I think they don't give much importance here is mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health is not taken seriously as an education curriculum in the United States, not just in the academia, for the populace. If Department of Education should make it a business to.
Yeah, I agree with you strongly. I think that is a lot of the trends that we might label as negative that we're seeing are I think
key.
related
The
to
labeling,
the lack
the
of
labeling. We are a meaning-giving machine as a human species. We are meaning, but our meaning are always subjective. They're never objective, because what's good for you might be bad, or what good looking for you might be ugly to me, and vice versa. So what I'm saying is, the most important thing is in the creation. It's what we create. We created Donald Trump, whether we like it or not. We collectively. We created the bullshit we're dealing with right now, while we should have been talking about education. We're talking about corruptions, and this side saying, no, it didn't happen. Oh, it's depending on what is. In the meantime, education is being managed or underfunded. Curriculum is weak, is redundant. It's not even
not relevant.
It's not relevant any longer, like you were saying earlier. So we're on a big crossroad right now. There's a lot of soul searching America as a country has to do on the individual level, but there should be a conscientious effort to recreate America. Instead of going back to the past, we should be shooting for the future, like you said earlier. It seems like we're going backwards. We're not getting it right. We're using different pendulum to weight what's right or what's important or not in our meanings. What meaning are we creating for ourselves? How could you have a president in less than a year has lied over 1,000 times, and they always caught him in the lie, and we acting like, oh, it's okay, you can lie, but you can lie, my son, but your president can lie. No, it's like the kids are confused. That's why they're going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs right now. Because the kids are confused. They see through us, especially nowadays with Google and internet. They can access we cannot put mud in their eyes anymore. So the good thing is the future belongs to them, not us old farts.
Yeah.
So they're just waiting for us to die, and they'll take over.
My son is 24 and a half. He recently said, I can't wait till everybody who hasn't been alive since the internet is dead, and then thinks so you better. Something to that effect.
It's their world.
Yeah.
By that time, we're instinct. We'll be the primitive they write about and they study in school.
Yeah. No, I do have hope when I hang out with young people. Seem to have a good sense.
Oh, they do.
Well, and I see that in older people too. It's just that we are so cynical. We tend to be wounded and cynical, and a lot of people not doing the work. I've done a lot of work to try to heal myself, and I still have work to do. But I know from how much work that's been that most people aren't doing. A lot of people aren't doing that work. So they're
I spend months
out there like wounded animals.
As you mentioned earlier, in my cave. I mean, literally in my caves. Stay home, go in my backyard. The good thing is I do gardening. I do gardening a lot. Go watch some TV. I vegetate. No, I wasn't vegetate. I just get disconnected to the world. That's how I do my vacation.
Yeah.
Sometimes people think vacation is to fly to Hawaii, and sometimes when I do vacation here, I check in the hotel for a weekend. I go in the hot tub, go to the bar, hang out, talk to other people, and then on Sunday night, Monday morning, go to work or go back home. I do staycation, they call it?
Staycation, yeah.
I love
like
staycation.
Those too. When you mentioned rhythm, I think it is important. When you disconnect from all that artificial, then you become part of the natural rhythm of just.
Your heartbeat is a rhythm.
Yeah.
Your step. Your humming. When you're happy. Happy food. That's my favorite time to look at a kid enjoying anything they're eating. They do so much joy, I wish I have that kind of joy. So, life suck it out of me. Just kidding.
Well, it doesn't show. Your smile still says you have some of that
thank you,
joy.
thank you.
So.
No, I'll always be happy. I'll down days, but I don't stay down long. It's not practical. And it blows my mind when people do, when they stay in a state of depression for a long time. And I know, speaking of mental health, a lot of time it's beyond their capacity. They need, training and measuring and medicine sometime if it's available. Not the commercial thing to make money and to get you hooked. And they don't call it drug for nothing. Pharmaceuticals are drug dealers.
Yeah.
They're legal drug dealers. It's not for the benefit of the patient. It's for the benefit of the bottom line and the CEOs, etc. So there's a lot of things to work on in America to get out as a collective progressive movement. Not as a political progress, but as a human species progress. The world is moving around us, and we're in a cyclone of repeating the same crap. And I think it's time to shoot to the future because we're behind. We're behind the curve, in my point of view. I'm not the smartest person, but Ray Charles can see that. So, but I'm not pessimistic though. I'm very optimistic. We have to continue to create. We are co-creators. We create the life we live, good or bad. That's where the responsibility came in. I grew up maybe at the age of 45. I'm a late boomer. And I'm still growing. I'm still learning how to take responsibility. And because a lot of things didn't make sense to me. They were just like, whatever. So, but all is good. I'm very optimistic about the new world. It's in metamorphism characteristic right now. It's transforming. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a minute. But we have to stay there and create the narrative and create the new meanings that we give to things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I agree.
And I'm glad you asked this. I've been lazy about writing. For the past 2 years, I've been thinking of writing, and maybe this year's the year I'll tackle it. That you triggered that, so I appreciate that.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that writing actually seems to be coming up for a lot of people. I don't know, maybe it's just as we're aging, maybe it's an age thing.
Yeah.
Also, it feels in a way like writing is I was about to say like a dying art form, or, it's changing the way we communicate. And it's not a dying art form. In fact, it's, just spreading. And I feel like so lucky to be able to express myself through writing, through speaking too. But I think writing is an interesting.
Well, it is. It's just that it's transformed. Because as you mentioned, technology. It might not even be in hard copy. It could be all electronic books.
Well, right. It's so easy to document. That's what I've been doing, is self-publishing.
Exactly.
I do my rough drafts on WordPress. It's so easy. It's so easy to do. So
it's part of marketing too, to have different market of the same work, or I call it.
Well, sure, to get somebody to read it is a whole different thing.
So it's okay to hire an editor and do some prints, because there are people, they don't have the technical skills. So you have both available. Right. So that's why it says you don't do things blindly. You have to still, okay, what about the other people who don't want to deal with computer? Then you have to print.
Right.
So, but I'm just saying that all in all, I should start writing. What I'm going to write, I don't know. I have some ideas, but it's just about me expressing my experience to the world, and what can I offer to somebody who reads this? How can him or her or they or it take this and debate it, talk about it, critique it, because that's part of the learning process. It's like, as I mentioned this, you mentioned architecture. One of my favorite time, other than the lecture series, is the critics, the day of the critics, to find people criticize. I don't care if it's a student of architecture who's a graduate student. I don't care if it's the bum of the street, because it's a time of
I enjoy, and critique, as we call it, right?
Yeah, critique, yeah. I love it. Some people are
too.
scared of it, and
Yeah.
I love it. I
I
don't
do
care
too.
if they rip my shit up because that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And then the way I impress them, when I come back, I respond to all the criticism that they do, and I blow them away. Oh, so I do see that you did that. So absolutely, that's why we have you guys here to help me make it that.
Right.
So, and I miss architecture. I miss the fact that the art part of it, the social part of it, the discussion. That's why I love the lecture series. A lot of architects came to those series. Big engineers who changed the world with their structure came to this series. As a matter of fact, I should be going to them if they're still doing them. Because this to me is one of the best asset for the architecture program at UNM, to hear all the stories, how things develop, how they happen, what the mushroom column by Frank Lloyd Wright changed the idea of doing concrete roofing and things like that.
Yeah, if you do go, let me know. Maybe I could go with you.
Oh, really?
I am
good.
Really,
I'm going to check it out.
You know, the play structures I want to build, like
Yeah.
I've mentioned, I really want to incorporate the latest, greatest
Yeah.
mind thinking
Yeah.
with the old. Like, there's no reason to toss out old technology, but there's no reason not to be incorporating what we're learning. And as we design machines that can help us figure out new arches and you know,
there's no
bracing
longer,
systems or whatever, you know, and
That's
new
one of-
materials, all kinds of exciting things coming out.
well, one thing to tell you in architecture, there's no new arch. They're all done before.
Every art, yeah. No, that I probably could have figured out for myself. I haven't
Yeah.
played with arches because, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well,
many,
it's just the idea of things
but
of
new
just,
materials
new
and
materials.
new, yeah.
Yes, new materials is important. To be honest with you, one of the reasons why I came here was for local Adobe architecture, hay bales.
Yeah.
You know.
This is something I'm thinking about starting some of my courses that I mentioned to you. And even though it's not practical for grade school or even for college, but as far as what humans would like to learn and might benefit from learning, some of those basics of building and the basics of building with
tires,
the elements.
Tires, fielding tires,
And tires is a subject. In fact, I just last night listed out my dream course, and tires is one of those classes because people have a lot of questions about it and a lot of trepidation.
Instead of piling them
but exactly, they're everywhere. They make a great low tech, long lasting,
and
thermal
strong.
mass building, strong, easy to work with, versatile.
Can serpentine walls anywhere
Exactly.
you want.
Yeah. So exactly, I think I can make a whole 9 to 16 week class just on why you might like to and how you might use tires.
It could be just one long wall and then other
for
material.
retaining well, exactly. You don't use it for the whole thing. No.
Exactly.
No,
So you balance it. It's not just one thing. You
Yeah.
know? So these are the kind of things that stimulated my curiosity.
When thinking, that's to me comes back to that. It's like not thinking there's one way, not just. I'm big on balancing, like I talked about earlier, having a model or an infrastructure or a method. I think it's super important, and they talk about imitating the masters. You know, I don't think we should throw out old ways of doing things, and I don't think we should come at it completely.
Well,
without a model.
they give you an aspiration to do the other thing.
But exactly,
You know
that's
what I mean?
exactly that.
There's
You
a reference
know
point,
what the model is. Then you diverge from the model. You modify, you adapt, you try out new things. And if you don't have any ideas, then you fall back to the model and you follow through on seeing what happens.
I'm just showing an example of that idea. Using tin as a material,
yes,
but because of
corrugated
the shape
tin, right?
and then the use of wood, glass, and everything. Like you said, they don't use one material, so give it a balance and it's something different than just
multi-medium.
It gives fluidity,
and then making something that is beautiful to look at and that aesthetically feels. I'm big on vibration these days. When I really think about it, if there's one core concept I want to bring things back to, it's vibration. It's like harmony of vibration. Strength. The same as singing a good song well, building a good structure well. It's about balance. It's about things coming together in a way that feels good, which in turn usually looks, and again, there's not one, like something that's not going to look good to everybody, but I think if you have that aim, same as politeness, not everything is the same to everybody, but if we at least try to be polite to each other, if we at least try to build things that are beautiful to our eye, then I think we're coming along faster. I don't know that we can be wrong or out of sync necessarily with nature. I think of it like the cha-cha-cha. I mean, like you need the back step in order to make that forward step again, so.
No, I'm going to be for lack of the philosopher part of me. And nature is relative as well. Because even what we call non-natural thing is part of nature.
Exactly. That's how I look at it. And that judgment piece that you mentioned earlier is like, we like to, when we judge something as bad, then it feels bad in us. Exactly. And it's a tricky thing because of course we still have agreed upon things that we go like, no, that's bad and I don't want to celebrate that as good.
Exactly.
And yet ultimately, those are choices we're all making together. And I think it's more important to focus on what feels like the right choice than to keep, like we talked about when you first arrived and I was talking about how I've been manifesting what I'm trying not to by focusing on it. I think if we focus on the problem, that we end up creating more problem. Whereas if we focus on the solutions that we want, which is why I like to talk about, new educational programs and new buildings. How can we build new cities, new buildings, new spaces for humans to feel safe in and to then
blow my mind.
Grow and learn. And that's amazing. And that's just not even the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of what we can create when we take off the limits of what's right and wrong, and we start thinking about what. I think it's important to think about what do we want. What do we? And that building is a great representation of both utilizing space well and doing something beautiful, which I'm drawn to do in my my head hut project. I just wrote my book about, so it's fresh in my mind how a lot of that energy was about aesthetics or playfulness and not about practicality, even though practicality is important. But I think it's also important to.
Well, that's a good example of that. Look
enjoy,
at this. The reason why I like this, not because of the style. It's like it's all concrete, but in everywhere they make sure they have a greenery to make it more natural. And then the way they put the pyramids upside down instead of right side up, we usually to do it. So it's like you said, okay, I got the norms. I'm going to step away from the norms and see what I can create. So that's why I tell you, there's a limitless opportunity for you to create anything you want. It will coexist with others. It will coexist as another thing, another way of doing things, another way of seeing things. I'm really up on that. The only thing is that sometimes I said, you should have never walked away from architecture, but you should never say never.
Right. So that makes me want to ask you my 3 wishes question, which is if you had three golden wish tickets that had no limits, that one you had to use on you personally, and one you had to use on the world at large, and one you could use for whatever you wanted, be it architecture or music or something else.
No, it couldn't be architecture because it's been for too long.
Yeah. What's your choice? One is your choice completely. One is for you, whatever, limitless, but for you personally, and one for the world.
I found myself a shotgun and the black lab. Going the mountain.
Say that again.
Find myself a shotgun.
Oh yeah.
Get my black lab.
What's the significance of the shotgun? Just on the wall there, or just to protect you? Makes you feel safe, safety,
or to hunt.
Right. Feels like a manly safety kind of thing.
Yeah. And a machete. I'm from Haiti, so I need a machete.
Okay.
On my side.
That's also like a safety.
And for
security.
utility. Yeah. No utility.
Going anywhere you want,
you can slice the meat, So a machete is very useful. And what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that I feel like right now I'm more interested of creating a new me.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's going to take me, I don't know. I'm just not so much interested to formulate. And then I know it's not the same thing I would tell to my son. So he needs to plan. But I've done all the planning already. I've done the dance. I've done the slide, the moonwalk
How old
dance.
are your kids this year?
My youngest is 20.
Yeah.
In August. Yeah, he just started a job at UN this week on the 21st,
Nice.
working with United Way and at the mayor's office. So
Officially grown up.
officially growing up.
All right. Sure. Yeah.
Well, it's a good transition for him, and I appreciate very much on Friday before he started after the holiday. He said, "I'm scared." I said, "Okay, it's okay to be scared. It's good to be scared, but but you have to be bold." And because the fact that he shared with us, so give him more encouragement. That it's good to be scared. If we weren't scared, then I'll be worried because it's big responsibility, But it's a good start. It's a good start. But as for me, right now, if I had three things, it cannot be one thing. I'm not that one thing kind of guy.
That's three. That's not enough.
Three is not enough because I feel
right.
constrained to just three
You're gonna
things.
try to play the I need not at least nine.
One of the boring things people do, and I like it because I'm a people person and I love history and I love culture. I'd like to spend 10 years traveling. And within the 10 years, I might spend a month in one of those places, maybe spend a year with those places, simply because I'm not bound. I don't want to be bound to a job, responsibilities. I just want to I'll be connected to the world, especially again, thanks to technology. I'll be connected to the world, but I'll be choosing to stay in other countries at different times.
It's like a limitless travel budget.
Limitless travel budget. And knowing myself, some of them not going to be expensive. Just get myself there, stay by the beach, bring an acoustic guitar and play and put some hat on the... Not just kidding. No, traveling is part of my doing. And in terms of giving something selfless of me, I always be a public servant. I always get involved some kind of community activism. I always get involved in education to donate myself to school presentation, volunteering. That's a non-stop for me. But as an interlude of something I want to focus on, traveling is one of them. Music, I don't see myself doing it so much in the future, but I want to do it now. Does that make sense? I want to do it now. I want to start playing more. And then if it takes me to keep playing, I will, But I have not put enough time in music that I ought to play it right. But I'll try to do things differently. Like I'm more focused this year. Less is more. Instead of doing more things, I'm doing less things to do it better, kind of thing. And I narrow it down even my work, I used to travel due to my work from Ratoon to Cruces and Gallup to Tucumcari and everything in between, including Silver City, Hobbs. So I burnt myself out. So because of refocusing on me, so I created reduced radius of Mariotti, Grant, Socorro, and maybe Espanola. That doesn't mean I don't do Silver City House anymore, but you're going to pay me to go there.
Yeah.
And it's not up for negotiation. You pay me my fee or call somebody else because I know nobody else will do it. Usually I get what I ask for. So that's why I'm working smarter than harder, because when you work harder, you get burnt out and you don't get to enjoy the money you make. So that's part of the refocusing. And I think I'm going to try to get better at it as I get older. That's so is that two? Or
I think that's two.
that's
Kind
two.
of, yeah.
And the third one is go back to the original and get my gun and my black lab and head for the mountain.
That's what you do for the world now. Yeah.
I'll still be available for the world, but that will be my goal.
Yeah.
So I hope I answered it correctly.
Yeah, there's no wrong
There's
answer.
no wrong answer.
I'm just curious,
Yeah.
So I have a fun question I like to ask, which is, if you were a hat, what kind of hat would you be?
How do I call it? Mandora. Nice suede, broad rim. Maybe velvet. Small feather, maybe a peacock.
Yeah.
Oh no, not a peacock, that's too much. Rooster tail, like the golden brown,
Yeah.
a little light color on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would be.
Nice. Like it.
I like hats a lot, so it's a hard question. So if I have to be one, it has to be that one.
Yeah. I do too. It's why it's one of my favorite questions. But I think it's just a fun question to think about, and there's no wrong answer. And also, as I say about the wishes, like you can get 3 different wishes tomorrow. It's just
that's true,
you don't have to feel pain. It's not the only 3 wishes you ever get. So, but I liked your answers a lot. So. Yeah. Well, thank you. I think we're going to wrap it up. If that's good with you. And
that's good. That's good.
Unless there's something, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the world, with all the wild, wild west that may or
well,
may
I would say one wish that I subconsciously, I wish Haiti found a way to resolve they remain stuck. Speaking of the same cyclone, regurgitating the same effort and getting the same results, and they keep doing it. There's a moment of madness. I want to stop. I see a glimpse of hope. Mm-hmm. There are measures being taken care right now, and they're having a lot of them in the government and the other participants. They're having a lot of support from the international world as well. There's a lot of cleaning up to do. It's hard because there are a lot of people with a lot of money that are behind all those turmoil, because their philosophy, they make more money by keeping the country unstable so they can suck international aids and everything and keep the monopoly of all goods, including food, utility, electricity, gasoline, fuel. Mm-hmm. So they monopolize everything. It's those rich commerce people who are not originally from Haiti, who are from the Lebanon, including Syria, way back in the 50s. Mm-hmm. But they've established a status quo of commerce, and they have money to buy those politicians when they become president or any other thing. So they pay their campaign to return services. For example, they control all the wharfs that for boats access, mm-hmm. the airport entry, and all the the borders. We border with Santo Domingo on the eastern part of the island, and there's a lot of contraband. There's a lot of guns. There's a lot. All these things support the destabilization, so they can keep the government preoccupied with keeping the country still while they're doing all the shenanigans. So that's stopping. Some of them are running away already. Some of them in Miami. So I hope Haiti continue on the transforming itself to the Haiti that we all dream. That's part of I left that. So I'm glad I reflect on that.
Yeah, thank you. And that makes me wonder if you think there's because I haven't been, but do you think there's room for like after school programs like we talked about a little bit here, or is it Like, what do you see as the best next move
after school
for
programs
helping
is
that?
necessary.
Yeah.
But it's part of the education part because
Right.
when the kids leave schools, if you don't give them something to do, just say go home and do your homework. It's not enough because you're not going to do homework right away. There's a lot of kill time, 4 or 5 hours before they really.
Right.
So,
I mean, like we talked about here, and I
yeah.
think it's true anywhere, right? And
and you don't make it mandatory; you make it available.
Right.
So because if mandatory become like schools, they get annoying.
Right.
But if it's available, it has special interest. Maybe people that mom goes to work, I can kill those 2 hours. I can do my homework there. So all these things, because as long as it has some attributes of contributing to part of the education, supporting it, it's like a support system. And again, to make political, I think education should be a right, not a privilege.
That's the problem that we run into is how to fund things, and when it's part of when it's part of the system,
because we have the money.
But what I'm trying to think of is how can we make it private?
We have billions in guns. We have billions in education. We have billions in just selling apples. We have billions of dollars. Just fund it. Yeah. We have the money. It's bullshit. It's political bullshit. Right. We have the money. Canada has the same money we have. They're doing that. They have free education. They have free healthcare. Switzerland, a lot of countries are doing it, and they're doing great. So I hate when they say we're going to have the money. You have the money. Just spend it on that instead of spending it elsewhere. And politicians having 2 terms or 6 years terms. Anyway, so don't get me started on
that. Wraps up my interview with Ducarmel Germain, aka Duke. I hope you enjoyed his perspective on life, his lovely accent, and I hope you give some thought to what you might do for the education systems of our country and around the world, and especially for Haiti and other places so disrupted by climate change, global greed, and other organized and disorganized forces. You can find Ducarmel on Facebook, or perhaps playing at your local favorite brewery some Friday or Saturday night in your future. I appreciate your attention today, and as always, I welcome your questions, comments, and suggestions. You can find me on Facebook as well, or contact me through most of the other social media platforms. Also, you can purchase my books and music on Amazon, my t-shirts on Teespring, and you can find my courses, artwork, and information about my current projects at www.angellily.com. You can also learn more about the Authentic Action School online at www.AuthenticActionSchool.com. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to play every day and drive forward.